I still had his fingers bruised into my thighs when I slid into bed beside my husband. He stirred, half asleep, smiled and whispered, "Did you have fun?" Fun. I wanted to scream. Instead, I kissed his forehead, tasting guilt. My panties were still damp, not from him. I could feel it. In the shower an hour earlier, I'd scrubbed until I bled. Not from pain, from shame, from something I couldn't name yet. He had bent me over a granite counter, whispered things I can't even write in my diary, and I let him. No, I begged. Now I was home. Wife, daughter-in-law, Sunday school suite. But I was someone else too. Someone who wanted to be ruined. I deleted the last message he sent. Can't stop thinking about the way you moaned. My husband rolled over. I stared at the ceiling, wide awake, and smiled. The therapist's office smelled like lavender and regret. I stared at the painting behind her head, something abstract, all harsh lines and bleeding colors. I wondered if it was supposed to calm me. "When did it start?" she asked softly. Laughed, too loudly, too bitterly. "I think it started on a Wednesday," I said. Or maybe it was a Tuesday, the day the silence at home got too loud to ignore. Before all this, the deleted messages, the lies, the bruises I told myself, were love. There were casseroles, folded laundry, soft kisses on the forehead, the kind of marriage people post about. We had a rhythm. Wake up, coffee, work, kiss goodbye, dinner, sex once a week, usually Fridays before Netflix. We were fine. That's what I told myself. Fine. But then I started lingering too long in the mirror, noticing the soft lines forming around my mouth, the boredom that clung to my skin like sweat. My husband would ask, "You okay?" And I'd smile. Always smile. The first time I touched myself and imagined someone else, it scared me. Not because I did it, but because of how easy it was. A faceless man. Rougher hands, hungrier eyes. Version of me that wasn't afraid to bite back. I told no one. Wrote it off as stress. A phase. Present day. I tap out a message, delete it, rewrite it, delete again. Tell me you want me. Send. Unsend. My husband hums in the next room, cleaning. Dishes. He's good. Too good. That's what makes it worse. Sometimes I want him to cheat, to slap me, to scream. Give me an excuse to leave. But he won't. He'll love me right through the destruction. Flashback. We were at dinner. One of those Italian places with dim lights and breadsticks you eat too many of. He looked at me and said, "You've been somewhere else lately. Is everything okay?" I nodded, lied, laughed, deflected, but in my head I was imagining the waiter pulling me into the restroom. I was crumbling. Quietly. Now, I stand naked in front of the mirror, mapping the bite mark on my inner thigh like a crime scene. There was a before, there is an after, and in between, something split open in me. A hunger, a howl, a woman I don't recognize and don't want to let go of. "When did it start?" the therapist asked. I look her straight in the eye. When I stopped pretending that being a good wife was enough. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. He was my sister's husband. Ethan. Tall, too handsome, the kind of man you expect to disappoint you eventually. But he never did. That was the problem. He was dependable in ways that made my chest ache. The way he always carried groceries for my mother without being asked. The way he remembered birthdays, including my father's, even after he passed. He looked at people like he saw them, like he heard the things they didn't say out loud. And I hated how much I wanted to be one of them. The moment it changed, really changed, was stupid, small, insignificant on the outside. We were at my niece's 7th birthday party. I was pouring punch into paper cups, trying to ignore the screaming kids and my sister's shrill laughter. Ethan was at the grill, spatula in one hand, beer in the other. I turned to say something. I don't even remember what. And he caught me watching him. Not just looking. Watching. He raised an eyebrow, smirked. "You okay?" Something in his voice made me pause. It wasn't the question itself. It was how he asked it, like he already knew the answer. That night I dreamt of him. I woke up panting, wet. I started inventing reasons to see them. "I found your daughter's sweater. Do you want me to help with the baby shower?" "Oh, is Ethan home? I wanted to ask about that grill he mentioned." I knew it was sick, but I also knew he was letting me. The eye contact lingered longer. His hand on my lower back stayed a second too long. One night, he stood too close behind me in the kitchen while I dried dishes and said, almost too quietly, "You smell like vanilla." I felt it between my legs. It wasn't sexual, not at first. It was worse. It was mental. He listened to me in ways my husband never did. He asked questions and actually remembered the answers. He once said, "You always bite your lip when you're holding something back." I stared at him, stunned. My husband had known me for 11 years and had never noticed that. It wasn't about Ethan himself, not really. It was the way he made me feel like I existed. I started fantasizing all the time. In the shower. In traffic. Even during sex with my husband. Soft, dutiful sex that left me lonelier than silence. With Ethan, in my mind, I was a version of myself that didn't apologize. He pulled my hair, called me filthy, told me I was his little secret. None of it had happened, but it felt more real than my marriage. Then came the message. Late one night, after my sister posted a photo of them on vacation. Ethan shirtless, her in a bikini, holding his hand. It wasn't jealousy. It was rage. That she had him. That she didn't even see what she had. I typed it. "Do you ever think about me the way I think about you?" My thumb hovered. I didn't send it. I deleted it. But an hour later, he texted me. "You looked beautiful last weekend." I shouldn't say that. But I'm thinking it, so I will. I read it 4 times. My pulse kicked up like a drug had hit my bloodstream. From there, it unraveled quickly. He started calling when she was out. Started texting at 2 a.m. Sometimes just one word. "Awake?" Yes. I was always awake now. It was never innocent again. Every conversation was a game of double meanings. Every family dinner was torture. Sitting across the table from my sister while his leg brushed mine under the table, deliberate, slow, knowing, I felt like I was going to vomit from the thrill. He never kissed me, never touched me in public. But he didn't have to. He lived in my veins, in my underwear drawer, in my mind. People think cheating starts with a kiss or a hotel room. But for me, it started in the pauses, in the thoughts I didn't stop, in the space between what I wanted and what I had. Ethan made that space feel unbearable. And suddenly, my life, My husband, our home, the safe love I'd built, felt like a prison cell I had decorated with matching throw pillows. I didn't want to escape. I wanted to burn the whole thing down. I started talking to him when he wasn't there. In my head, Ethan's voice narrated my mornings like a shadow lover. "Still pretending?" he'd whisper when I set the breakfast table across from my husband. "You hate how quiet he is. You hate how he doesn't notice the way your hands shake." He became a second presence. In the mirror beside my reflection, in the creak of the floorboards behind me, I thought I was losing my mind. I hoped I was. Diary entry, April. 3 today, he touched my shoulder. That's all. Just a brush. But I could feel it for hours. It burned. It made me wet. I left my sister's house early and drove with the windows down like I needed the cold air to slap me out of whatever spell he has over me. But I'm not under a spell. I'm awake for the first time in years. What does that say about me? Reality blurred fast. One afternoon, I thought I saw him in the grocery store, standing at the end of the frozen food aisle, biting his lip the way he does when he's focused. I actually whispered his name. "Ethan?" A stranger turned around. My heart dropped, but my thighs clenched. Even hallucinating him turned me on. I started imagining him everywhere. Sitting at the edge of the bed while I undressed. Behind me in the shower, soap trailing down my back. Breathing against my neck when I folded my husband's t-shirts. The fantasies weren't gentle. They weren't romantic. They were feral. Ethan wouldn't make love to me. He'd take me, hard, fast. Mouth pressed against my ear, telling me how dirty I was, how much better I felt than his wife. He'd pin me against the bathroom wall during a family dinner, push my dress up, shove 2 fingers inside me while everyone sat in the next room, sipping wine and laughing, and I'd love it, not despite the danger, but because of it. Diary entry, April 16. I touched myself in the car today, in the school parking lot after dropping my son off. I closed my eyes and pictured Ethan, standing outside the window, watching, smirking. He'd tell me to keep going, to finish, to ruin the seat. I don't recognize this version of me, but I don't want her to leave. I stopped sleeping, not because of guilt, because I didn't want to miss a message from him. Every buzz of my phone made my chest ache with anticipation. When it wasn't him, I felt disappointed. When it was him, I felt unhinged. "You drive me fucking crazy," he texted one night. "I think about you every time I'm inside her." I nearly dropped the phone, then I read it again, and again, and again. I didn't care if he meant it. I just needed the lie. At night, I'd sit on the edge of my bathtub in a towel dripping wet and pretend he was there. I'd say things out loud like, "You'd touch me differently than he does, wouldn't you? You'd make me scream. You'd break me open." And I'd answer, myself, in his voice. "I already have, baby." Diary entry, April 21. Think I might be addicted. Not to sex, to the feeling of being wanted. My husband loves me, but Ethan wants me. It's not the same thing. I used to think love was enough, but now I understand. It's not. I want danger. I want hunger. I want to be the thing that ruins someone's life. I began dressing differently. Lower. Necklines. No bra, lipstick that left faint smudges on glass and on thoughts. I told myself it was confidence, but it wasn't. It was bait. I was trying to tempt him, push him, force his hand, and when we locked eyes at my niece's recital he looked me up and down like a wolf cornering prey. I knew it was working. My marriage, my job, my son. They all started feeling like static in the background. Noise. I smiled at the right moments, laughed on cue, but inside, I was spiraling, down into a place where nothing mattered but his approval. I imagined scenarios where we got caught, where my sister found the messages, where my husband walked in on us, and I didn't fear it. I fantasized about it. The chaos, the fire, the total destruction. One night, after my husband fell asleep beside me, snoring softly like he always does, I whispered, "Tell me what you'd do if you had me for just one night." And I imagined Ethan behind me, fingers in my hair, saying, "I wouldn't let you walk straight the next day." I moaned into the pillow, bit the sheets, tears in my eyes. It was the most alive I'd felt in years. Diary entry, April 29. I'm losing pieces of myself. But maybe they were never mine to begin with. Maybe this version of me, the one who wants, the one who aches, maybe she's the real one, and the wife, the mother, the hostess with the perfect table settings. Maybe that was the performance all along. I stopped flinching at my own thoughts. I stopped resisting the voice that said, "Do it. Touch him. Let him taste you. It's already gone too far. You're not a good woman anymore. So why not enjoy it?" And that's when I knew. This wasn't about Ethan anymore. It was about me. The me who'd been starving. The me who wanted to be devoured. The me who couldn't breathe in the life she'd built. So I closed my eyes and I let the hunger take me. The first time wasn't planned. But that's a lie, isn't it? I had shaved everything, worn red lace under a modest dress, put on perfume behind my knees. I wanted to be ready. I wanted to be undone. It happened at Ethan's house. My sister had taken the kids to a birthday party. He said he had a headache. I said I was just dropping something off. It was silent, hot, the air between us too charged to ignore. He opened the door in sweatpants, barefoot. He smelled like cedar and sin. We didn't speak. He pulled me inside by the wrist. His hand slid under my dress before I could even say hello. My panties were soaked. I hated how easy it was. He kissed me like he had already been doing it in his head for months. No hesitation, no question. His hands were cruel, and I wanted them crueler. He bent me over the kitchen island. Same place. We'd once made cupcakes with my niece. Now I had my face pressed into the granite while he dragged his teeth down my back. "Say it," he growled. "Say you're mine." And I did. Not because I believed it, but because I needed to be someone's. Halfway through, he paused, looked at me. "This is so fucked up," I laughed, my lipstick smeared on the counter. "I know," I whispered. Then I pulled him back into me. After, I sat on his couch in my wrinkled dress, shaking. He handed me water. Didn't speak. I saw a framed photo on the shelf. Him and my sister on their wedding day. I stared at it while he kissed my thigh. I thought about my husband. How he was probably folding laundry or making coffee or checking the oil in my car. I thought about how he'd say, "I love you," if I called right then. And for a second, just one, I wanted to scream. But instead I leaned back and let Ethan go down on me. I came with a sob in my throat. I wasn't sure if it was pleasure or grief. It didn't stop. We kept finding ways. An empty hotel room. During a fake work trip. The back seat of his car, parked behind an abandoned diner. Once, in my guest bathroom, while my husband sat on the porch outside, scrolling his phone. Ethan whispered filth into my mouth while I stared at my reflection. In the mirror. Mascara smudged, eyes hollow. I didn't look like myself anymore. I didn't want to. But the guilt came. Always mid-act. Always when I was about to break open. I'd feel Ethan inside me and wonder, is this how my husband used to feel when he made love to me the first year we were married? Did he used to touch me like I was a secret? Did he used to listen to me breathe? And then Ethan would bite down on my shoulder and all of it would disappear. The guilt, the shame, everything. Dissolved into heat and noise. I started getting clumsy, leaving faint bruises on my neck, coming home too flushed. My husband started asking questions. Are you okay? You've been distant. Is there someone else? I lied with a kind of grace I didn't know I had. No. God, no. I'm just tired. Work's been a lot, but my heart beat too hard every time he touched me, like it was trying to jump out of my chest. Like it couldn't stand being touched by the wrong man anymore. And yet, sometimes during sex with my husband, I cried. Not from guilt, from emptiness. He kissed me with such softness, such care, and I felt nothing, not even shame. That terrified me more than the cheating. One night, after another stolen hour with Ethan, I came home to find my husband cooking dinner. He looked up, smiled like he had won the lottery. He kissed my cheek and said, "You smell amazing." I excused myself, locked the bathroom door, and vomited. The affair wasn't about Ethan anymore. It was about the lie, the thrill, the danger of being known by someone else in a way that felt like drowning. He could make me come twice in 10 minutes, but he didn't hold me after. He didn't ask what I needed, because we both knew what this was. A fire set in the wrong house, and I was the one holding the match. I knew it was coming, the end, the crash. The moment the mirror I'd been balancing shattered and all the shards pointed inward, it began with something stupid, a missed detail, a lazy mistake. I left my phone on the bathroom sink while I showered. Ethan texted me, "I can still taste you." You left your panties in my car. I didn't see the messages until later, but my husband did. He was pale when I stepped out of the steam. He didn't say a word, just handed me the phone with shaking fingers and walked out of the room. My knees buckled, not because I was sorry, but because I didn't know what version of myself he had just seen, and I couldn't take it back. He didn't scream. He didn't hit a wall or throw my phone across the room. He sat at the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, head down. And when I tried to speak, to lie, to explain, to spin, he said, "Don't. Just tell me one thing. Is it him? Ethan?" My mouth opened. Nothing came out. That was my answer. The days that followed were a slow-motion drowning. Silence so heavy it made my ears ring. He moved into the guest room. I slept in hours in our bed, staring at the ceiling and wondering if it had always been this cold. Ethan blew up my phone. What happened? Did he find out? You okay? We can run. If it all blows up, we can go. Run? Suddenly, the man who used to sneak me into cheap motels like a game was talking about futures, about burning it all down, about custody battles in cities with no family ties. And I panicked. I told him I needed space, that it was too much, that I didn't want to lose my son, that I didn't want anyone to get hurt. He sent me a voice note. Too late for that. His tone was different, cold, like a switch flipped. The hunter became something else, possessive, clingy, desperate. The man who once made me feel devoured now made me feel trapped. And then, the package arrived. Small white envelope, no return address. Inside, a single photo. Me. Standing outside Ethan's car, leaning in, smiling, his hand on my waist. I couldn't breathe. My husband saw it too. He left the house that night. Didn't tell me where he was going. Didn't answer texts. I curled up on the kitchen floor, sobbing into my knees, waiting for the end to come. It wasn't Ethan who sent it. It was my sister. She had known. Of course she had. She'd seen the way we looked at each other, the too long hugs, the changed perfume. She waited until she had proof, and then she mailed it, like a funeral notice. I sat in my car outside her house, watching her through the living room window, wondering if I should knock, apologize, beg. But all I could do was put the car in reverse. My husband came back after 3 days. His eyes were red, his voice hoarse. I don't want to lose our son, he said, but I can't live with a stranger. And I realized that's exactly what I had become, a stranger to him, to my sister, to myself. I called Ethan, told him it was over. He laughed, not out of humor, but disbelief. You think you get to walk away? You said you were mine. His voice broke on the last word. I hung up, blocked him. Then I walked into the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. This time I didn't see a hollow version of me. I saw all of me. The liar, the cheater, the addict, the woman who begged to be ruined and got what she asked for. That night I slept in the guest room, alone. And when I closed my eyes, I didn't see Ethan. I saw the wreckage. And for the first time since it started, I whispered the truth out loud to the darkness. I wanted it to fall apart. And I meant it. I sit in the living room most nights now. No TV, no music. Just the ticking of the clock on the wall, the one my husband's mother gave us as a wedding gift. It ticks too loudly now, like it's mocking me for believing time ever meant something. Stable. He sleeps upstairs. We don't touch. We don't fight anymore either. The silence has matured into something almost polite. We coexist in shared rooms like shadows that don't cast light on each other. I still make dinner, still fold his socks, still say good morning and drive safe. And, did you remember to pay the gas bill? Because it's easier to pretend I'm still the woman who once meant those things than face the void of what I've become. Sometimes, after he falls asleep, I slip into the shower, turn off the lights, let the water run cold. I imagine Ethan is behind me. I feel the ghost of his lips on my neck, the phantom pressure of hands that don't belong there anymore. And for a few minutes, I am alive again. Wrong, dirty, unforgivable, but alive. Then I step out, dry off, wipe the fog from the mirror and face myself all over again. My son asked me last week, "Why don't you smile like before, Mommy?" I told him I was tired. But the truth is, I don't remember who that smiling woman was. She died somewhere, between a kiss that should have never happened and a lie I told too well. I don't text Ethan, But I haven't deleted his number either. That's the part that haunts me most. Not that I miss him, but that part of me still wants to. That I still keep the door unlocked. Not for him to walk in, but for chaos to find me again. Because at least when everything was burning, I could feel the heat. Now there's just ash. And a woman pretending it doesn't choke her in her sleep.